The Galactic Council chamber stretched wide like an arena. Representatives from 47 different species sat in their designated seats, watching the floor below. Some had scales. Some had fur. Some were made of living crystal that hummed with inner light. They had gathered to discuss an unusual request. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood in the center of the chamber. She was human. She looked small, compared to most of the other species present. Her skin was brown, her hair was black and tied back simply, and she wore a plain gray uniform. She did not carry weapons. She did not have claws or fangs. She looked, to many in the room, like prey. "The human species requests peacekeeper status," she said. Her voice was calm and steady. It echoed through the chamber. A massive creature rose from his seat. War Chancellor Throck of the Kralix stood 3 meters tall. His scales were thick like armor, deep red in color. His claws could tear through steel. His species had conquered 12 star systems through pure military might. "Peacekeepers?" Throck's laugh was like rocks grinding together. "Your species has no natural weapons. You have no armor. You are not strong. You are not fast. How can prey become protectors?" Other council members made sounds of agreement. The Voranthi representative, a being covered in blue feathers with razor-sharp edges, clicked her beak. "Humans are mediators, diplomats. You talk, you negotiate. But peacekeepers must enforce order in the contested fringe. That region is lawless, violent. It requires strength." Ambassador Chen did not react to their mockery. She simply waited. When the chamber grew quiet again, she spoke. "For 200 years, we have served the Galactic Council. We have mediated conflicts. We have prevented wars. We have brought enemies to the negotiation table. Our success rate is 97%. Because you convince both sides to talk," interrupted a insectoid being called High Observer Xylith. Her voice was like wind through hollow tubes. "That works when both sides are tired of fighting. The contested fringe is different. 3 empires battle there constantly. They do not want peace. They want victory." "Then we will give them peace anyway," Chen said simply. Throck laughed again. "You and what army? Human? The one you will never see coming." The chamber fell silent. Something in Chen's voice had changed. It was still calm, still quiet. But now, there was something else underneath. Something cold. High Observer Xylith tilted her triangular head. Her compound eyes studied the human carefully. She had been studying humans for decades. Something about them did not fit with the rest of the galaxy's species. They were too calm, too controlled, like a predator pretending to be prey. "You understand the requirements?" Xylith asked. "Peacekeepers must patrol contested territories, must enforce ceasefires, must protect civilians, must neutralize hostile forces. Can your species do this? Without significant casualties?" "Yes," Chen answered. "Your own casualties?" Xylith pressed. "Humans are fragile. Your skin tears easily. You have no natural defenses. We are more durable than we look." Throck snorted. "I have seen human anatomy. You are soft, weak. One strike from a Kralix warrior would kill you." Chen looked directly at the War Chancellor. "Only if the strike connects." The statement hung in the air. Several council members shifted uncomfortably. Was the human threatening Throck? That would be suicide. Yet Chen's expression remained neutral, almost friendly. The head of the Galactic Council, an ancient being called the Prime Arbiter, finally spoke. His voice was like distant thunder. "The Council will vote. All in favor of granting humanity peacekeeper status for the contested fringe region. On Reller." 12 hands, claws, and tentacles rose. Opposed? 33 appendages rose into the air. Throck's massive hand was among them. The Prime Arbiter continued. "However, according to Council law, a species may be granted provisional status with 1/4 support. Humanity will receive a 6-month trial period. If successful, full status will be granted. If unsuccessful, he paused. We will discuss alternatives. Chen bowed her head slightly. Thank you, Prime Arbiter. We will not disappoint the Council. As the representatives began to file out of the chamber, Throck approached Chen. He towered over her. His shadow completely covered her small frame. You have made a mistake, human, he growled quietly. The contested fringe will eat your peacekeepers alive. My warriors have been fighting there for 20 years. The Voranthi have been there for 30. The Zelthians for 40. None of us can control that region. What makes you think your soft little species can succeed where we have failed? Chen looked up at him. She did not step back. She did not show fear. She simply smiled. It was a small smile. Almost sad. War Chancellor, she said softly. You have been fighting there for decades because you fight the way warriors fight. Loud. Proud. Visible. You want your enemies to see you coming. You want them to know who defeated them. Of course, Throck said. What other way is there? Chen's smile grew slightly. You will learn. She walked past him. Throck watched her go. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something unusual. Something he had not felt since he was young. He felt uncertain. High Observer Xylith approached him. You sense it too, she said. It was not a question. Sense what? Throck asked. That we have made an error. Not in approving their request. In underestimating them. She watched Chen disappear through the chamber doors. I have studied human history. Human evolution. There is something we have all missed about this species. What is that? I do not know yet. But I believe we will find out soon. Xylith's compound eyes reflected the chamber lights. And I suspect we will not enjoy the lesson. Nover 7. 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 3 days later, human peacekeepers began deploying to the contested fringe. They arrived quietly. No fanfare. No declarations. They simply appeared and began their work. The galaxy watched and waited to see what would happen when prey tried to police predators. They would not have to wait long. 3 months had passed since the humans arrived in the contested fringe. The region was a mess of broken planets and asteroid fields where 3 empires met. The Kralliks, the Voranthi, and the Zelthians had been fighting here for decades. Supply lines crossed. Territories overlapped. Skirmishes happened weekly. Commander Vrak of the Kralliks studied the reports on his datapad. Something strange was happening. Over the past month, his forces had lost contact with 7 supply convoys. Not destroyed, not captured, simply gone. Vanished, without any distress signals, without any signs of battle. Could it be the Voranthi? His second-in-command asked. Vrak shook his massive head. The Voranthi attack head-on. They are warriors of honor. They would claim responsibility. He pulled up another report. The Voranthi have also lost convoys. 6 in the last 3 weeks. They blame us. The Zelthians? They have lost supplies too. Entire storage depots have been emptied. No explosions. No break-ins. The supplies are simply no longer there. His second-in-command growled. Then who? Before Vrak could answer, his communication panel lit up. It was an emergency signal from Outpost Theta 7. He opened the channel. Commander, we need backup. Our command center has been... The voice cut off suddenly. Vrak tried to re-establish the connection. Nothing. Just static. They arrived at the outpost 40 minutes later. Vrak led 20 of his best warriors through the main entrance. The doors were not damaged. The security systems were still active. Everything looked normal. Except the outpost was empty. Spread out, Vrak ordered. Find our people. His warriors searched every room, every corridor. They found no bodies, no blood, no signs of struggle. In the command center, the monitors still showed live feeds from security cameras. Weapons sat in their racks, unused. Half-eaten meals sat on tables in the dining hall. 300 Kralix soldiers had simply vanished. In the command center, Vrak found something. A small piece of paper, held down by a drinking cup. He picked it up. On it, written in perfect Kralix script, was a simple message. Your soldiers are safe. They are being held at the following coordinates. They are unharmed. Pick them up. Stop fighting. This is your only warning. Below the message were coordinates to a location 50 kilometers away. Vrak crumpled the paper in his fist. Who dares? He roared. One of his warriors pointed to the security feed. Commander. Look. Vrak watched the recording from 2 hours earlier. It showed the command center, fully staffed with soldiers. Then, for just 3 seconds, the camera flickered. When it came back, the room was empty. Play it again, Vrak ordered. Slow it down. They watched frame by frame. In the moment between one frame and the next, shadows moved. But they were not normal shadows. They had shape. Human shape. The Peacekeepers, Vrak whispered. They found the Kralix soldiers at the coordinates, exactly as promised. All 300 of them were sitting in an open field, their weapons in a neat pile 50 meters away. They were alive. Uninjured, but terrified. What happened? Vrak demanded of his senior officer. The officer's voice shook. They came through the walls, through the shadows. We saw nothing, heard nothing. One moment we were at our posts. The next, we were on the ground, our weapons gone. We never had a chance to fight. How many were there? We do not know. Maybe 5? Maybe 50. We never saw them clearly. Did they hurt anyone? No, Commander. They were careful. Precise. They disabled us without causing injury. Then they spoke to us. What did they say? The officer looked at the ground. They said, "We are human peacekeepers. We do not want to hurt you, but we will stop this war. Go home. Tell your leaders, peace is not optional anymore." Similar incidents began happening to all 3 empires. Voranthi commanders disappeared from secured bunkers. Zelthian weapon depots were emptied overnight. Military installations lost power at critical moments. Always, there were no casualties. Always, there was a message left behind. Stop fighting. The Voranthi High Command called an emergency meeting. General Sithrak, their most decorated warrior, addressed the council. We are being hunted, she said bluntly. But not by the Kralix or Zelthians. By the humans. Impossible, another general said. We have seen humans. They are weak, fragile. Then explain this. Sithrak displayed footage on the central screen. It showed a Voranthi patrol of 12 warriors moving through a canyon. Suddenly, one warrior fell. Then another. Then another. In 15 seconds, all 12 were on the ground, unconscious. The camera picked up only brief flickers of movement. Enhanced analysis shows the presence of 5 humans. They moved through our patrol like ghosts. They used no energy weapons. Our soldiers show only pressure point strikes and nerve hits. Precise. Professional. Non-lethal. The council chamber was silent. There is more. Sithrak continued. I led a personal mission to hunt these humans. 40 of our best warriors. We tracked them for 6 days through hostile terrain. We followed every trace, every sign. On the 7th day, we realized something. What? The council leader asked. They were never running from us. We were not hunting them. They were hunting us. Sithrak's feathers ruffled with discomfort. On day 7, they disabled our entire team, all 40 warriors, in under 3 minutes. When I woke, there was a message carved into the rock beside me. War is over. Go home. The council erupted in angry voices. Impossible. Unacceptable. Humiliating. But General Sithrak silenced them. They let us live. They have neutralized over 1,000 of our soldiers across the fringe. Not one has died. Not one has been permanently injured. Do you understand what this means? The council leader understood. They are showing mercy. No, Sithrak said quietly. Mercy implies we were at their level. This is not mercy. This is restraint. They are showing us that they could kill us easily. They are choosing not to. There is a difference. Across the contested fringe, the three empires came to the same terrifying conclusion. The humans were not peacekeepers because they were gentle. They were peacekeepers because they were the most dangerous thing in the region, and everyone was only now realizing it. War Chancellor Throck sat in the Galactic Council's intelligence chamber. Around him floated dozens of holographic screens. Each showed footage from the contested fringe. Each showed human peacekeepers in action, or rather, showed the results of their actions, because the humans themselves were rarely visible. High Observer Xylith stood beside him. She had been reviewing the data for days. This should not be possible. Throck muttered. He replayed a video for the 10th time. It showed a Kralix military base. 20 guards on patrol. Walls, 3 meters high. Sensor nets covering every approach. Then, nothing. Just brief shadows. 30 seconds later, every guard was unconscious, and the base's weapon storage was empty. Yet it is happening, Xylith said. She brought up new data. I have been studying human biology and history. I believe I understand what we are facing. Explain. Xylith displayed an image of Earth, the human homeworld. This planet is classified as a Class 9 death world. The gravity is higher than most civilized worlds. The atmosphere is corrosive oxygen. The surface has extreme temperature variations. Predators exist at every level of the food chain. Throck knew about death worlds. Only the toughest species evolved on such planets. But humans looked so fragile. Humans evolved with no natural weapons. Xylith continued. No claws. No venom. No armor. No enhanced strength. They should have been prey. Then how did they survive? Xylith's compound eyes glittered. They became the apex predator through different means. First, endurance. Humans can run for days without stopping. On their world, they practiced persistence hunting. They would chase prey until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. The prey was faster, but humans never stopped following. She brought up comparison charts. A human can travel over 100 kilometers in a day on foot. They can survive for weeks with minimal food and water. Their bodies regulate temperature better than almost any species. They can adapt to extreme heat, extreme cold, high altitude, and low altitude. They heal quickly. They survive injuries that would kill most species. Throck studied the data. It was disturbing. Second, tool creation, Xylith said. Humans have been making tools for over 2 million years. They take their environment and reshape it. Every problem they face, they create a solution. No natural night vision? They make lights. No natural armor? They make shields and protective gear. Cannot fly? They build aircraft. They are the only species that fundamentally changes their environment instead of adapting to it. Many species use tools, Throck argued, not like humans. Humans improve their tools constantly. Always better. Always more efficient. What they could not do naturally, they learned to do through technology and through practice. Xylith pulled up military analysis reports. Third, and most important, pack hunting and strategic thinking. Humans evolved hunting in groups. They developed complex communication. They learned to predict prey behavior. They became masters of patience and planning. She showed footage from the contested fringe. A human team of 5 soldiers. Watch carefully. Throck watched. The humans moved through enemy territory. They never spoke aloud. They used only hand signals. They moved together, like parts of a single organism. When one human looked left, another watched right. They covered every angle. Every possibility. They have perfect situational awareness, Xylith explained. Each human knows where every other human is without looking. They communicate instantly without words. This is not training. This is instinct from millions of years of hunting together. Throck's blood ran cold as understanding dawned. Now watch this, Xylith said. She showed new footage. A Krallic strike team had been sent to ambush a human peacekeeper unit. The Krallics were professional soldiers. They set a perfect trap in a mountain pass. The 5 humans walked into the trap. The Krallics sprang their ambush. The humans vanished. Not scattered, not retreated. They simply melted into the terrain like smoke. The Krallics team tried to track them. For 6 days, they followed traces through the mountains. On day 3, strange things started happening. Equipment malfunctioned. Soldiers glimpsed shadows. Sounds echoed from impossible directions. On day 6, the Krallics commander realized they were low on supplies. They had been traveling in circles. Their navigation equipment had been subtly tampered with. On day 7, they woke to find all their weapons gone. They were not unconscious. They had not been attacked. While they slept, the humans had moved through their camp like ghosts and taken every weapon without waking anyone. A message was carved in stone nearby. You hunted us. We let you. Now you know. War is over. Go home. It was never an ambush, Throck whispered. From the moment the humans entered that pass, they were hunting the hunters. Correct, Xylith said. Humans call this psychological warfare. They do not just defeat enemies. They break their confidence. Make them doubt. Make them afraid. She pulled up more data. I found something else disturbing. Humans have a military history spanning their entire existence. Over 10,000 years of documented warfare. They have fought in every terrain, against every type of enemy. They have developed tactics for situations we have never imagined. Throck studied the human military history. It was horrifying. Humans had fought wars with spears, with swords, with guns, with bombs, with chemical weapons, with nuclear weapons. They had fought in trenches, in cities, in jungles, in deserts, in Arctic wastes, in oceans, and in space. They have tactics for fighting in complete darkness, Xylith said. For fighting while outnumbered 100 to 1, for fighting without supplies, for fighting without communication. They have contingency plans for every scenario, because they have faced every scenario. But they also have restraint, Throck noted, pointing at casualty reports. Over 2,000 enemy soldiers neutralized. 0 deaths. Over 2. That is what terrifies me most, Xylith said quietly. Every attack is precise, controlled. They know exactly how to disable someone without killing them. They know pressure points for 47 different species. They use the minimum force necessary. Always. Why? Because they choose to, not because they cannot kill, because they will not kill unless necessary. Xylith turned to face Throck. War Chancellor, we made a terrible mistake. We thought humans were peacekeepers because they were weak and gentle. The truth is opposite. What is the truth? Humans are peacekeepers because they are the apex predator of a death world. They know exactly how dangerous they are. They spent 200 years learning our cultures, our weaknesses, our fighting styles. They studied us like prey. Throck felt something he had not felt in decades. Fear. True, primal fear. They are not keeping peace because they must, he said slowly. They are keeping peace because they can. Because they are the most dangerous thing in this region, and they are choosing to use that danger to protect others. Yes, Xylith agreed. We did not grant them peacekeeper status. We gave the galaxy's most efficient predator permission to hunt us, and they are doing it without killing anyone, which somehow makes them more terrifying. Throck looked at the screens, showing the contested fringe. The three empires that had fought for decades were now pulling back. Commanders were requesting transfers. Soldiers were refusing missions to the region. The humans had pacified the most violent area of known space in 3 months. Not through overwhelming force, not through superior numbers, through fear, through proving they were the apex predator, and through showing mercy that made everyone wonder what would happen if that mercy ever ended. The Galactic Council had called an emergency session. All 47 member species were present. But today, the focus was not on a crisis. It was on a solution that had become more terrifying than the original problem. The Prime Arbiter's voice echoed through the chamber. We convene to discuss the human peacekeeping operation in the contested fringe. All 3 empires have requested an immediate ceasefire. All report. This is unprecedented. War Chancellor Throck stood. His proud shoulders were slumped. His voice was quiet. The Kralix Empire withdraws all military forces from the contested fringe, effective immediately. We will honor any peace agreement the Council proposes. Gasps filled the chamber. The Kralix had never retreated from anything. General Sithrak of the Voranthi stood next. The Voranthi sovereignty agrees. We withdraw our forces. We request that human peacekeepers remain in the region indefinitely. The Zelthian ambassador, a crystalline being that pulsed with nervous light, stood last. The Zelthian collective also agrees to immediate withdrawal and to all peace terms. We have no desire to continue operations in that region. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood quietly in the center of the chamber. She had said nothing yet. She simply waited, as humans always did. The Prime Arbiter spoke directly to her. Ambassador Chen, in 3 months, your species has accomplished what 3 empires could not in 40 years. You have brought peace to the contested fringe. The Council acknowledges this success. However, he paused. We also have questions, concerns. I am happy to answer them, Chen said calmly. High Observer Xylith stood. She had prepared a presentation. Holographic screens appeared throughout the chamber. I have spent 3 months studying the human peacekeeping operation. I believe the Council deserves the full truth about what humans are. She displayed images of Earth. Humans evolved on a Class 9 death world. A planet so hostile that most species would die within hours of landing. Gravity 1.2 times standard. Oxygen-based atmosphere that is corrosive to many species. Temperature extremes. Megapredators. Toxic plants. Dangerous microorganisms. Violent weather. This planet should have been impossible for complex life. The screens showed various Earth predators. Lions. Bears. Crocodiles. Sharks. Snakes. Yet this world produced thousands of apex predators. And somehow, humans survived them all. Not through strength, not through natural weapons, through intelligence, through endurance, through cooperation. She pulled up human evolutionary history. Humans are persistence predators. They evolved to chase prey for days until the animal collapsed. No other species on Earth could match human endurance. Humans can run 100 kilometers without stopping. They can survive weeks without food. Their bodies are designed to never stop. A video played showing a human marathon. Thousands of humans running for over 40 kilometers. For hours. This is what they do for recreation, Xylith said. They run until their bodies should fail. And then, they keep running. They call it sport. The chamber was silent. Humans also have spatial awareness beyond most species, Xylith continued. Their brains process movement and danger constantly. They can track multiple threats simultaneously. They sense changes in their environment instantly. This is because, on their world, predators attacked from every direction. She showed footage from the contested fringe. Human peacekeepers moving through hostile territory. Watch how they never stop scanning. How they position themselves to cover all angles. This is not training. This is instinct. They evolved being both hunter and prey. More data appeared. Humans are also tool builders, beyond any species we have encountered. They have been creating weapons for over 2 million years. Every generation improves on the previous. They have gone from stone tools to nuclear weapons in less than 100,000 years. Their technology advancement is exponential, Throck spoke up. But they do not use their weapons. They neutralize enemies without killing. Why? Chen finally spoke. May I answer that? The Prime Arbiter nodded. Chen stepped forward. Because we learned the hardest lesson any species can learn. We learned to control ourselves. She paused, letting her words sink in. Observer, Xylith's research is correct. We evolved on a death world. We became apex predators through intelligence, endurance, and cooperation. But she missed one critical detail. What detail? Xylith asked. The most dangerous predator we ever faced was not lions or bears or sharks, Chen said. It was other humans. She displayed new images. Human history, warfare, genocide, nuclear weapons. For most of our history, we were our own worst enemy. We fought wars that killed millions. We developed weapons that could destroy our entire planet. We came very close to extinction multiple times. Not from natural disasters, from ourselves. The chamber was absolutely silent now. We are not peacekeepers because we are gentle, Chen continued. We are peacekeepers because we know exactly what violence leads to. We have lived it. We have suffered it. Every human alive today is descended from those who chose cooperation over destruction, who chose peace over victory, who chose to control the predator inside them. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of different species. You all wondered how we pacified the contested fringe so quickly. The truth is simple. We are very good at war. We have practiced it for thousands of years. We know every tactic, every strategy, every way to hurt and kill efficiently. Some council members shifted uncomfortably. But we also know that winning a war is easy, Chen said. Winning peace is hard. Killing is simple. Choosing not to kill when you have the power to do so. That is the real strength. She pulled up the casualty statistics. Over 2,000 enemy soldiers neutralized. 0 deaths. Every soldier we encountered, we had the ability to kill. We chose not to. Not because we could not. Not because we were afraid. But because we decided, as a species, that life has value. Even enemy life. General Sithrak stood. Ambassador Chen, I led a team that tried to hunt your peacekeepers. We tracked them for 6 days. On day 7, they disabled my entire team in minutes. I must ask, how did you know we were hunting you from the beginning? Chen smiled slightly. Because that is what we would have done. Humans are very good at predicting behavior because we have done everything. Every tactic you used, we invented thousands of years ago. Every trick, every trap, every strategy. We wrote the manual on hunting other intelligent beings. We had to. Because we spent most of our history hunting each other. She let that sink in. When you tried to track us, we knew immediately. We let you follow us. We wanted you to understand that you were never hunting prey. You were being studied by predators who were curious about your capabilities. When we had learned enough, we ended the hunt. Non-lethally. Because we are peacekeepers. The Prime Arbiter spoke. You have answered our questions about capability. But why? Why serve as peacekeepers? When you could conquer. Chen's expression grew serious. Because we already conquered the hardest enemy we ever faced. Ourselves. We chose to be better than our nature. We chose compassion over dominance. We chose to use our abilities to protect instead of destroy. That choice was not easy. It took thousands of years. But we made it. She looked directly at Throck. We do not need to conquer you, War Chancellor. We just need you to make the same choice we made. Choose peace. Choose life. Choose to be better than your warrior nature. The chamber remained silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, the Prime Arbiter stood. The Galactic Council grants humanity full peacekeeper status. Furthermore, we create a new designation. Apex Peacekeepers. Humanity is the first and only species to hold this title. Chen bowed her head. We are honored. And we promise the Council. We will continue to choose mercy. Always. That is what makes us human. 6 months had passed since the emergency council session. The contested fringe was no longer contested. It was now known throughout the galaxy as the Quiet Zone. Commander Vrock walked through what used to be a battlefield. Now, it was farmland. Zelthian civilians had returned to their abandoned colonies. They planted crops, built homes. Children played in fields where soldiers once died. Human peacekeepers were still present, but they were nearly invisible. Vrock knew they were there. He could feel them watching, but he could not see them unless they wanted to be seen. A human emerged from the shadows beside him. Vrock did not jump, though his heart raced. He had learned not to show surprise around humans. Commander Vrock, the human said. She was small, maybe 1.5 meters tall. She wore simple gray clothing. Her name was Chen, apparently a common human name. She was not the ambassador, just a peacekeeper. Beautiful day. Vrock looked at the fields. It is. I did not think I would ever see this region at peace. Neither did many people, Chen agreed. They walked together in silence for a moment. How are your soldiers adjusting? They are confused, Vrock admitted. They were trained for war. Now there is no war to fight. That must be difficult. Yes. Vrock paused. May I ask you something? Of course. Why did you not kill us? Any of us? You had many opportunities. You could have ended the conflict in days instead of months, if you had simply eliminated military leaders. Chen was quiet for a moment. Would that have brought peace? It would have brought victory. Those are not the same thing. Chen stopped walking and looked at him. If we had killed your leaders, others would have risen to replace them. The cycle would continue. Violence answered with violence. That is not peace. That is just pausing to reload. Vrock considered this. So you chose the harder path. We chose the right path. There is a difference. Chen smiled. Besides, we learned something important in our own history. What is that? Dead enemies stay enemies forever. Living enemies can become friends. They resumed walking. In the distance, Vrock saw Voranthi and Kralik civilians working together on a construction project. It would have been unthinkable a year ago. The Council has been receiving requests, Chen said. Other species want to learn from us. They want training in conflict resolution, in peacekeeping, in what they are calling the human way. Will you teach them? Some things, but not everything. Chen's expression grew serious. We will teach patience, strategy, non-lethal tactics. But we will not teach species how to become predators. The galaxy has enough warriors. It needs more peacekeepers. Vrock understood. Humans would share their methods but not their weapons. They would teach protection but not destruction. There is something else, Vrock said. Something we have all noticed. What is that? Crime. It has dropped 90% in regions where humans patrol. Criminal organizations avoid human-protected zones entirely. Chen nodded. Criminals are practical. They calculate risk versus reward. When the risk becomes too high, they go elsewhere. You hunt criminals the same way you hunted soldiers? We protect people the same way everywhere. Whether the threat is military or criminal, does not matter. The result is the same. People are safe. They reached the edge of the settlement. Chen stopped. I have a patrol to complete. It was good talking with you, Commander. Wait, Vrak said. One more question. The most important one. Ask, what would have happened if we had not surrendered? If we had continued fighting? Chen was quiet for a long moment. Her expression was sad. Then we would have stopped you anyway. It would have taken longer. Been harder. But we would have protected the civilians and stopped the fighting. Without killing? We would have tried very hard not to. But she met his eyes. We are peacekeepers, Commander. Not pacifists. If forced to choose between allowing innocents to die and stopping a threat permanently, we would make the hard choice. We would do what is necessary. We just work very hard to make sure it never becomes necessary. Vrak understood. The human's mercy was a choice, not a weakness. And choices could change. Thank you for your honesty, he said. Chen nodded and disappeared into the shadows. One moment she was there. The next, she was gone. Vrak never saw her leave. He returned to his ship. There, War Chancellor Thrak was waiting via communication channel. Commander Vrak, Thrak's voice rumbled. Report. The fringe is stable, War Chancellor. Civilian populations are returning. Trade routes are reopening. There have been no incidents. And the humans? They are. Present. Watching. Protecting. Thrak was silent for a moment. I met with Ambassador Chen yesterday. A private meeting. She made me an offer. What kind of offer? Training. She said that Kralix warriors could learn new skills. Precision tactics. Protection strategies. Non-lethal methods. She said, we could become peacekeepers too. That our strength could be used to protect, instead of conquer. Vrak was surprised. What did you say? I accepted. For the first time in Kralix history, we will learn from another species. Thrak's voice carried a strange emotion. Pride? No. Something else. Respect. They defeated us without firing a shot. They taught us that there is honor in protection. In choosing when not to fight. That is a lesson worth learning. 3 years later, the Quiet Zone had expanded. Former war zones throughout the galaxy were now requesting human peacekeepers. And humans were training other species in their methods. War Chancellor Thrak, now retired, ran a training facility for Kralix peacekeepers. He taught young warriors the lessons he had learned from humans. Patience. Precision. Protection. The strength to choose mercy. General Sithrak of the Voranthi did the same. Former enemies now worked together, united by a common purpose. The galaxy was changing. In the Galactic Council chamber, Ambassador Chen presented the annual peacekeeping report. Crime was down. Wars were down. Civilian casualties were down. Cooperation was up. Trade was up. Quality of life was up. The Prime Arbiter studied the data. Remarkable. In just 3 years, you have changed the galaxy. Chen shook her head. No, Prime Arbiter. We did not change the galaxy. We just showed it what it could be. The galaxy changed itself. Arbiter. By fearing humans? No. By understanding humans. We are not special. We are not superior. We are just a species that learned the hardest lesson early. That predators can choose to be protectors. That the strong can choose to be gentle. That warriors can choose to be peacekeepers. She looked around the chamber at the various species. Every species here has the same choice. You can all be what we are. You just have to decide to be better than your nature. High Observer Xylith spoke. You make it sound simple. It is simple, Chen said. Not easy, but simple. You just have to ask yourself one question. What do you want to be remembered for? Conquest or protection? Destruction or creation? Fear or hope? The chamber was silent. Chen continued. 3 years ago, you feared us because you saw what we could do. Now, I hope you see what we choose to do. And I hope you see that you can make the same choice. Years passed. The human model of peacekeeping spread throughout the galaxy. Crime syndicates dissolved. Wars became rare. The contested fringe became a symbol of what was possible. And in quiet places, in shadows and darkness, human peacekeepers still watched, still protected, still chose mercy over violence. They were the galaxy's quietest killers. The predators who decided to protect instead of hunt. The warriors who chose peace over victory. And the galaxy was better for it. In a small settlement on the edge of what used to be a war zone, children played. Multiple species. Kralix children chasing, Voranthi children, Zelthian children laughing with human children. They did not know about the wars their parents had fought. They only knew peace. A human peacekeeper watched from the shadows. She was old now. One of the first to serve in the contested fringe. She had seen the transformation, had been part of it. A young child approached her. A Kralix boy, barely 6 years old. "Are you a human?" he asked. "I am," she said. "My father says humans are very scary." She smiled. "Are you scared?" The child thought about it. "No, you keep us safe. That is what we do." "Why?" It was the simplest question. And the most important one. She knelt down to his level. Because someone has to. And because we can. And because it is the right thing to do. The child nodded, satisfied with this answer. He ran back to his friends. The peacekeeper stood. She melted back into the shadows. Back to her patrol. Back to her purpose. In a galaxy full of warriors, humans had taught everyone the most important lesson. The greatest weapon was not strength or fury. It was knowing when not to use it. It was choosing protection over destruction. It was being the thing others feared, and using that fear to create safety instead of terror. The galaxy had learned. And the galaxy was quiet now. Not silent, not empty, but peaceful. The kind of peace that comes not from weakness, but from strength restrained, from predators who chose to be protectors. The galaxy's quietest killers had become its greatest guardians. And they would remain in the shadows, watching, protecting, choosing mercy, for as long as the galaxy needed them, because that was what humans did. That was what they had always done. And that was what they would always be.